is.
Stephen St. John.
I am the greatest.
I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the he wants.
All around is watching us, the Mexicans. And I feel proud about represent Mexico. ¡Viva México, cabrones!
Welcome to New Day with SSJ on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Spartans! What is your profession?
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is that why you are here?
It's time!
New Day with SSJ is presented by Walker Medical Linen Services, locally owned and operated, and HLAC certified to the highest standards. Walker has partnerships with hospitals, surgery centers, and medical clinics in and around the metro area. Walker Medical Linen Services in Kansas City and online at walkermls.com.
Makes the catch. Soler heads for the plate, and it's a sacrifice fly. The Giants are within one. Tying run into scoring position. Go ahead run aboard, and the Giants not dead yet. There's a swing and a miss, and that's the ball game. Cardinals over the Giants 6-5. And it started with all the tributes before the game. Gave it a whole Sunday afternoon a Rick Woodfield vibe to it. The game was excellent. All the visits. We learned so much. Let's continue to learn about the Negro Leagues, about baseball's rich history here at Rick Woodfield in Birmingham, Alabama.
The Royals had a 5.5 game lead over the Red Sox, and now it's just a 1 game lead. So the race is on.
Exactly. And it starts today.
Yeah, let's go. That's right.
Lugo against Oakland. Let's go. You're going to get it done.
Buster only says the Royals will win, and the Royals will win.
The Kansas City Royals.
And Freddie hits one into the left field corner, and he's got another one.
And we talked about Royals hitters need to get that cutter up and in the middle of the zone. That's exactly what Freddie Fermin did.
And it'll be Gelof's turn. 1-1. Swing a high fly ball deep to center field. Asbel going, still going. This game is tied. It's tied. Zach Gelof has homered again in this series. Zach Gelof, 3 straight games with a home run. And we have a brand new ball game here in the 7th.
James MacArthur comes on, and Abraham Toro gets one past Pasquantino. McCann is not a good runner. They're going to wave him home. Here's Frazier's relay to the plate, and it is going to be on time. Belted to left field, and the Royals come right back on a long home run by Bobby Witt Jr.
And we talked about after giving up that lead, Bobby Witt Jr. is the one you want in that batter's box.
Yeah, these guys pitched really well. The A's guys pitched really well. A ton of cutters, sliders that looked a lot like the cutters. And, Bobby, I know he was frustrated with himself these last couple days, and I think he took some aggression out on that one and kind of hurt our hand coming back through the dugout, too. But really happy for him, and it's a huge spot for the team, which is what he cares about.
Good morning, Kansas City. This is New Day with SSJ on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's Friday, June 21st, 2024. Today on the show, we're going to talk to Stan Weber in studio. We're going to get the weekend forecast from Jeff Penner. Former Royals catcher Mike McFarland will be with us. How about this? Former Royals DH and first baseman Billy Butler will be on the show. And our NFL insider Adam Kaplan will join us because Tim Grenhard is traveling and not able to be with us in the 9 o'clock hour. So Billy Butler and Adam Kaplan will be in the 9 o'clock hour. So, did you utilize the sausage to book Billy Butler? What did you do?
I did not.
Oh, really?
I went to the old Pounders Rolodex.
Huh. Because, Sherman and him are buddies, and they spent time together when he was in town, and he was telling the stories about it in the commercial break yesterday, and I thought, well...
I did not hear that. I knew that they were friends. I knew they had a connection, but I don't know. I don't like to always do that. I mean, hey, you want to come on the show because we're friends with Anthony Sherman?
Right.
Sure, it works sometimes, but also it's like,
Just seemed like a coincidence that yesterday he was talking about it.
I was not in there. I didn't even hear that. That is. That's
and he
wild.
was, and Billy was in town.
Oh.
He was at the Royals games last week.
That's awesome. Look how that worked out.
So how did that conversation go?
I just shot him a text. I had a couple numbers for him.
Right. Oh, did you?
I did. And so I used both those numbers, sent him a text, said, "Hey, Billy, it's Jake Gutierrez from Sports Radio 810 here in Kansas City. I produce the morning show with Stephen St. John. Would you have some time tomorrow to come on the show?"
And he said, "Who?"
He said, "Yep." I think he might remember me because we used to have him on as a weekly guest.
Yeah.
So I think he I assume. I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, I used to have contact with him on a weekly basis.
He probably knows us through Sherm, too.
Yeah. So.
And coming on the show, you're right.
He gave me a yep.
Is that it?
Sounds good.
Was there anything else?
Sounds good.
Okay. Does it?
Yeah. I said, coordinated a time. I said, "You want me to reach you here on this number?" He said, "Sounds good."
Well, I am going to talk about Sherm when we bring
Yeah,
him on the
you
show.
should. You definitely should. You definitely should.
So, it was good to see him back out at the ballpark.
Yeah, and I'd like to hear, he went to Oakland after he played here. I'd like to hear his thoughts on Oakland Coliseum now that the Royals are never playing there ever again.
Aw.
So.
At least the Royals...
That's right.
Close out with a win, because let me tell you...
Right.
That would have been a disaster to get swept by the A's.
Disaster.
It's not good that they lost 2 out of 3. I'm not trying to ignore that.
No,
but not good.
It's baseball. You're gonna have.
That's true.
You're gonna.
You nailed that one.
Yeah, right.
It is baseball, but that was not good baseball until yesterday, and that wasn't easy. But thankfully, the Royals were able to escape Oakland with a 3-2 victory, thanks to the heroics of Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah, the boys are playing some ball.
The Royals had a 2-0 lead, so the offense still didn't do enough against Oakland, except for Freddie Fermin, who had 2 home runs, a solo home run in the second and a solo home run in the fourth. So he continues to hit very well. I mean, my goodness. Yesterday as DH, he was 3 for 4 with 2 homers. And his slash line is 303, 352, 447. And so he's been remarkable at the plate. And he's been very valuable in allowing the Royals to give Salvi some time at first base, give Salvi some off days here and there to try to keep Salvi fresh and help him get through the numerous bumps and bruises that he endures throughout a Major League Baseball season. But
remarkable.
Man, Fermin, Salvi was a catcher, and Fermin was a DH, and Fermin still justified his spot in the lineup with a couple of bombs. And it looked like for a while that was going to hold up because Seth Lugo had thrown 6 shutout innings, and it was 2-0. But then Lugo gives up a 2-run home run to Geloff with 2 outs in the 7th, and the game is tied, and you're thinking, oh, my God, they're going to get swept by the A's. Are you kidding me? But Bobby Witt Jr. said no, sir, and hit what proved to be a game-winning home run in the top of the 8th. And look, credit the bullpen, because even after he hit the home run, I was nervous, thinking, okay, bullpen, don't blow this. And between MacArthur and Zerpa and Stratton, they did not blow it. And so we complain about the bullpen when they screw up. So let's praise them for helping the Royals escape Oakland with a victory. So MacArthur, an inning of, but he didn't make it easy. 2 hits, 2 walks. Well, he had to feel very thankful today. And so we could easily be complaining about MacArthur this morning. Instead, he gets a win. That's how, once again, ridiculous the win stat is. 1 inning, 2 hits, 2 walks. Winner. Lugo's like, huh? Zerpa, 2/3 of an inning, gives up a hit. And then Stratton, 2/3 of an inning, and he was clean.
Winning.
But to be honest with you, it doesn't matter. If it was 3-2, 10-2, 4-2, 8-2, whatever. They just needed to win that game. And I don't care how it happened. I don't care what happened in the game. They got the W. And sometimes you just got to win. And that's it. You just got to win. It doesn't matter if it's ugly. It doesn't matter if it's beautiful. It ends up being beautiful because it's in the win column. And look, like I said yesterday, this wasn't some kind of deal. Well, if it's a must win. If they lose, then what? Then they got another series coming up in Texas. And they still got over half the season left. But it's just, you just felt like, bros, make a stand here. Don't get swept by Oakland. You've got the guy that's been your ace all season long on the mound. There's no way you should lose this game. And they didn't. So, good on them.
Yeah, how about that? The boys are playing some ball, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, again, that could have, and in the 8th inning, I thought it was going to go a much different way. What were you feeling? Like I'm like, oh my.
I was almost expecting it to blow up somehow. There was an expectation of that.
As soon as Bobby Witt Jr. gave him the lead, it looked like they're going to blow it in the bottom of the 8th. Like, oh God, are you kidding me? Someone get word to the dugout that they're playing Oakland. This is Oakland, people.
Look, I mean, it's still close. They still had to have a put out at the plate.
I know.
Blanco had a great play, and Frazier had the relay, and Salvi had the great tag, and I mean that's how close it was.
It was not easy. Nothing was easy about it. But again, who cares?
No, it doesn't matter. They grind. I mean, that's character. It's a character-building win. But Bobby Witt Jr., man.
Yeah.
Guy's awesome. Understatement.
Man.
Just the biggest moments, comes up with the biggest hits.
So far, in this first segment, Jake has told you that's baseball.
That is, not getting swept.
And Jake has declared that Bobby Witt Jr. is awesome.
Tune in. We're going till 10 a.m. with these kind of hot takes.
I knew I'd convince you. This Bobby Witt Jr. may not be too bad.
Not too bad.
Yeah, I'm watching that play again at home.
Yeah, right. That's a big play, man.
Jake says
That's a big play,
that was a big play. As it was happening, I thought he was going to score for sure. I was mad. I cussed. I'm not going to lie. Did you? As it was happening? Like, oh, he's scoring.
No, I mean,
I thought something was going to go wrong.
I don't know.
The relay was going to be bobbled, something. As it was happening, I go, they tied it. Are you kidding me? Are you effing kidding me?
The fact that it was McCann is.
I know, but I'm sorry. I was in a negative place at that point.
I get it. I think that's the only reason I had some hope.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's not a very good runner.
You don't think his sprint time is similar to Bobby Witt Jr.'s?
I do not.
Why? What makes you?
Eyes.
What do you know it all?
My eyes tell me that it's not even. See him round third. It looks a little different.
It does, doesn't it?
Just a little bit.
Doesn't have the same feel.
It's an interesting call to send him there.
Let's hear the call of it. Play it. You've got it. I give you all the tools to succeed on this show. Trust me. It was exciting. Whenever we talk about this, we talk about watching. I know there's a. Well, I didn't see it. Bally's.
James MacArthur comes on, and Abraham Toro gets one past Pasquantino. McCann is not a good runner. They're going to wave him home. Here's Frazier's relay to the plate, and it is going to be on time.
Whew.
Yeah, I think that was MacArthur's reaction. Whew.
Like, okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Winner! This is how I win.
Winning.
Play Bobby Witt Jr.'s home run. And as you said, he appears to be awesome. This guy is good.
Belted to left field, and the Royals come right back on a long home run by Bobby Witt Jr.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Bobby. Right?
Yeah.
You thank Bobby Witt Jr. for that.
That's why he's the MVP candidate.
He sure is. And the Royals win 3-2. Yay. Yay. They threatened in the 7th. They threatened in the 8th. But they got through it. It was a rocky road to a victory. Right?
It was. But also, offense still needs to get going a little bit. Freddie Fermin was great.
Yeah.
You want to hear from him after the game with Joel?
If you say so.
All right. Here's Freddie Fermin with Joel Goldberg after the game yesterday.
What a wild game, and right down to the end, and this is the guy that was so important today, Freddie Fermin, as the DH. How special was today for you?
Thanks God for the win today. Very happy for this day. Get here to the stadium, enjoy this game today. The boys played really good. Lugo, very happy for today.
3 hits, 2 home runs. For you to be able to be the DH, you're a catcher. You're Salvi's backup, and you've been getting a lot of time behind the plate. What does it mean to you for your manager to believe in you, to have you in that lineup, even when you're not catching?
Like I say, get to the stadium, do my routine, enjoy this day, not just in the plane, looking for something up. I forget everything about the catching today, and just be on the plan, and I execute the swinging, and you see it.
So you just forget about the catching, focus on hitting. That's a little bit different for you. Tell me about both of those home runs. What do you remember about the first and the second home run?
We talked early in the cage for looking something up, and he threw me, caught it up, and I made a good swing, and I executed the swing, and I could make a good swing and do 2 homers today.
That's a really good day. Your second career 2-home run game. How important was today's win? This team, the Royals, have not been swept all year long. To be able to leave here with a win.
Hey, the A's got to be good guys right there. They can swing, and they were playing really good. But we play hard, and we never give up, and we won today, and just keep rolling on Texas.
Keep rolling in Texas. You keep doing your thing. I think I could speak for all of us. We really enjoy watching you play. The work, the passion, and the way you go about the game. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Somehow, the Royals got it done, and MacArthur escaped disaster after he comes in the 7th and gives up the double to Toro, and McCann's thrown out at home. And then in the 8th, walk, pick off, ground out, walk, single. His night's done. Zerpa comes in, gets him out of the inning. And so the A's threaten in the 7th, threaten in the 8th. And then they're able to get the win. And so, look, again, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it was ugly. Doesn't matter if it was whatever. They needed to get that win and avoid the sweep at the hands of the Oakland A's. I mean, it wasn't. It was. I was nervous in the night too. Right? I mean, they had runners on there, but Stratton got it done when he came in with 2 runners on. What was your confidence level there?
Oh, I thought it was a coin flip at that point in time.
I was out in the 7th, in the 8th, and in the 9th.
Not high. I mean, I was like, this could go either way, and almost more pessimistic than optimistic.
Well, the bottom line is they got it done. They avoided disaster. They avoided the sweep. They win 3-2, and now on to Texas to see if they can take care of business against the Rangers. We will take a break. We've got Stan Weber up next. Back after this on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Royals win 3-2 over the A's. Now they take on the Texas Rangers. And now we welcome Stan Weber in studio. Stan, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. I thought about you yesterday because I wonder, as early as you get up in the morning, how happy were you to have a West Coast Royals game be an afternoon getaway game instead of a 9 o'clock start last night or 8:30? I thought, how about you just in your wheelhouse to watch the Royals and
it was
put
good.
that to bed and get a win?
It was good, but that was also sometimes that could be nap time.
Oh,
in that time, but
I should have asked you about your schedule. Sorry,
but
about
I went
that.
no. So, but that's normally. But yesterday, this is giving me a chance to pat myself on the back, Jake. My daughter Selena came to work with me yesterday, and yesterday was I've been trying to go to work out with Todd Lebo at Base Camp Fitness, and so yesterday was our scheduled workout at noon, and my daughter joined us. She went through the workout, and I worked out. Jake, you've gone. You know,
I was there last Monday.
I was.
It's great.
That was tougher for me to get through this one than it was last week. Anyway, and so we did the workout, and then we had a late lunch together, and then by the time I got home, it was just around the time the Royals were getting ready to start, and I was beat. And so that's, it's a great thing now. We watch things on our phone. We can watch things that, I know, Jake, you're against that. Because why? Because
the blue light.
The blue light. But anyway, so.
I thought he was going to say the driving.
No, just late. Yeah, that too.
Right. And
just
so
late at night.
I'm watching, and that's okay. I'm going to close my eyes for just a half inning or so, But so in and out. But then, obviously, I'm thinking, well, they're going to cruise to this victory. Lou goes on, and then the 2-run home run, and then the 7th and 8th and 9th were all nail biters. And then seeing Bobby Wood Jr. hit the home run, I'll take it.
To see him make a good defensive play for once, because they've lost a number of games with some bad plays.
Yeah.
Which they almost did when we were out there a week ago Thursday.
Right. But they came back and won that game.
and won the game. And then this game was in Oakland, Alameda County Coliseum. That's what I'm going to call it, right? Think about all the Raiders and Chiefs games out there. And now the Royals will no longer play there. The Chiefs will no longer play there. And just so many memories when you think back to sports. And then for me, Jake, what's crazy is on July 4th, a week after I was married, that's part of where I spent my honeymoon. My poor wife had to figure out right away what it was going to be like. We'd already gone to Candlestick Park where the San Francisco Giants played. We watched them. And then on
place that is,
July 4th, we were in the outfield seats watching the A's play. And when the fireworks came on, they told us, head on out to the outfield, go out to the grass. Being a young guy, naturally, Stephen, before the fireworks started, had to run to the warning track and jump up against the wall and see if I could catch a fly ball.
Did you?
Well, I jumped pretty high back then. But then I started smelling stuff I was unfamiliar with.
Wow.
So I asked my wife, what is that? She goes, well, I think it's marijuana.
It's cannabis. There's a lot of that.
Welcome to the old days in Oakland and the new days today in Missouri. So anyway, I was there, watched the game, checked that box, but to see all the history go away from that stadium and the rivalries. Because remember, you talk about the Royals in the George Brett era, right? And people think that's so long ago. So many of our listeners are like, well, okay, I kind of remember George Brett playing. But the early days of George Brett, the Oakland A's were world championship level, and there was no such thing as a wild card. You had to win your division, and there was only 2 divisions. And the A's were winning World Series, and the Royals were finishing, 4 games behind them, 5 games behind them, 1 or 2 games behind them as the season ran down the stretch. The Royals were coming on in the 70s, right? Freddie Patek, Cookie Rojas, George Brett was coming in, Paul Splitterorf. Remember all those days?
Sure.
And they couldn't get past the Oakland A's with Reggie Jackson, Joe Rudy, So I just think the history between Kansas City versus Oakland out in that stadium are a lot of history gone by. And Bobby Witt ended it on a good note, like Len Dawson did in the 69 season playoffs. When Oakland was the division champion, when the Chiefs won their first Super Bowl, Oakland won the division, not the Chiefs. Chiefs had to go on the road and beat the Raiders to end up in the Super Bowl.
Jake, I want you to there's a couple of different versions of the of the clip from Reggie Jackson that I sent you. Listen to it. There's one that's edited, because you bring that up, and I'm gonna play this at some point here in the hour. But did either of you guys watch that the special broadcast last night of the game celebrating the Negro Leagues? It was on Fox, and it was.
Was it in Birmingham?
Yes, it was in
oldest stadium in now used by major leagues because it was built 2 years before Fenway Park.
It was
Willie
incredible.
Mays played there,
right? Rick Wood Field,
and they had both a white team and a Negro Leagues team with almost the same exact names playing in the stadium, taking turns. It was like in New York where there's two teams.
And so at one point, Bob Kendrick was in the booth and told some stories. We'll play some of those, but before the game, they talked to Reggie Jackson, and Reggie Jackson. I mentioned this yesterday when I was talking to Buster Olney when the A's. Let me get this right. When the A's were in Kansas City, they had their Double-A team play in Birmingham in 1967, and Reggie Jackson was on that team. And many members of the teams that you're talking about, the three-peat of 72, 73, 74 of the A's played there. And so Reggie Jackson was had played.
That was his home park?
At that field.
In the minors?
He had played some games there in 1967.
Wow.
And so it was Alex Rodriguez, David Ortiz. They had the whole panel up there, and they had Reggie Jackson. And I don't know if they expected him to say what he said. And it was one of the most powerful 3 minutes that I've heard on TV in a while. Is that not the right one?
I don't have it in my DMs.
I sent you. I'll be honest. I sent you a lot of them last night. But we will.
So you didn't nap the night away.
No, trust me.
You were awake after that Royals win, after that Bobby Witt.
Well, we'll first play the Bob Kendrick, and that's right before the Bobby Witt home run that I sent you. Bob Kendrick, president of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, was in the broadcast booth, and he told a story about Satchel Paige striking out a 17-year-old Willie Mays. And so this was awesome last night.
They asked the question, said, Willie, did you ever face Satchel? And Willie's feeling good that day. And you know he had a kind of a high-pitched voice. He said, yeah, I faced Satchel. I faced Satchel when I was 17 years old. The first time I faced Satchel, I got a double off of it. Well, Satchel didn't know who this kid was. Threw him a little off-speed something. Young Willie Mays hits it in the gap, gets a double. Well, Satchel steps off the mound. He looks at the third baseman. He says, hey, man, you let me know when he gets back up here. A couple of innings later, here comes young Willie Mays. Third baseman says, hey, Satch, there he is. Satchel looks at Willie. He said, Willie, he says, son, I ain't going to try to trick you. I'm going to throw you 3 fastballs. And even at 17, Mr. Mays is like, you going to throw me 3 fastballs and I know they're coming? He said he threw 3 straight right by me. I never saw him. And as on the final pitch, Satchel's halfway between the mound and the batter's box. And Willie said he's turning to go back to the dugout. And he says, Satchel looks at him and says, now go sit down, little boy. And to see Willie Mays simply delighting, remembering being struck out by Satchel Paige, tells you how great Satchel Paige was.
And it was funny because I was on Twitter, on X during the game and seeing everyone's reaction, and to see, I think most baseball fans know who Bob Kendrick is around the nation, or they should.
At least around here, our listeners do.
Everyone knows who he is around here and knows what a great storyteller he is. But it was cool to see all these people that maybe had not heard him before, listen to him tell stories. Like, they need to have him in for the entire game. And people are, well, he has a podcast. Well, you can visit Kansas City, and he'll, and so all these people that maybe hadn't paid attention or knew the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum was in Kansas City and knew Bob Kendrick was, that really hadn't heard him tell stories before, were like, this guy's amazing. He needs to be. They need to have him in for the the whole 9 innings. They need and so it was really cool to see that, something that we already know, right?
Right.
And so that was.
And the St. Louis Cardinals were part of that game. If
Yeah.
you didn't know about it, so that's another local tie.
Yeah, that was
regional
really cool.
tie, however you want to say it. You can hear it at this station almost all the way to St. Louis.
And then did you see when they went to the black and they went for a while black and white, like it was old school 1950s?
No, I did not see that. I didn't see it.
That was so.
I watched the first part of it, and then I got pulled away doing another
like
project.
Then they did like a 1954 broadcast for a while. And so I just
that black and white video, and look how they put those little lines through it too.
Right,
that's unbelievable.
And so,
you think, you know what? That's so much better than radio, because baseball was the biggest deal, right? Boxing and baseball for the people living 100 years ago, 70 years ago, it was everything. Boxing and baseball, and they listened on the radio. So to get a black and white game, and all the World Series games were played in the afternoon, like Willie Mays' catch in 1954 over the shoulder against the Cleveland Indians when he was the New York Giants. That was an afternoon game. All the games were. But to see him on TV compared to listening on radio was a big step forward. So black and white, no one griped about that.
All right, so I'm going to play this.
Have you ever seen a black and white TV?
Oh, yeah, my grandparents have.
So you did? I was wondering, because you're right at that age where, like, I remember a few people had black and white, but I have to be truthful, almost everybody I knew had vaulted into the colored television.
We actually had a small one, but my grandparents still had one in their basement that they just had it, right? And I'd always wanted to, plug it in and jack with it, but yeah.
Yeah, we had a black and white as well. When I was
Jake, you seen a black and white?
Oh yeah, my mom hated video games so much that when I was 10 years old, my grandma bought us a Nintendo system, and my mom made us put it on the black and white TV.
That's right.
So we wouldn't like playing these video games. This Nintendo.
I bet you still liked it, didn't you?
Oh yeah, and then when my parents would leave, we'd be like, oh, they're gone. We'd sneak the Nintendo and put it on the big color screen.
Can I tell you, maybe there's a statute of limitations about something that Jake might not be happy with me about, but when I was younger, leading edge, we had the beautiful, whatever that was, television that sat on the floor, right? The big floor.
That's what we had, yeah.
Television. You had to run up and change the channels, but there were only 3 channels back when I grew up. So
it was a piece of furniture is what it was.
Yeah, it was beautiful. But my parents, we splurged. We got a second TV up in the kitchen area, but it had to be black and white because they didn't have no color, little ones, right?
Right.
So it had a black and white. But that's not the key part of the story, Jake. We were so lucky and so advanced. You think about your phone, and Steven's talking about being with his wife, coming back from Tulsa last week, and able to watch on the phone what he wanted to, and take it in like he had a television. Jake, my parents, I don't know how they thought this out, but man, it hit home run for me. They had a TV set that I could take out on the road and have an adapter to stick into the lighter. So when I was lucky enough my sophomore year to be the starting quarterback for the varsity, naturally all my buddies were just battling and going after it in the JV game on Monday night. And I'm such an NFL fan that I went to my buddy's JV game until 8 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, I was out of there. Sorry, guys. I made an excuse, go to the concession stand. They didn't see me. They're playing. I went out, started driving home. It was only a 10-minute drive. No traffic hardly. But, yep, I did have my TV on the seat over there to the side.
Plugged into the cigarette lighter?
Plugged into the cigarette lighter. Monday Night Football, baby. I wasn't even watching. I wasn't missing the first 10 minutes. Now, probably it's just volume, because if you play the opening of Monday Night Football, doesn't that give you chills, Steven? Some of the old ones when you were a kid?
Absolutely.
So I did have that TV. I thought my parents were so cool that I had a portable TV that I could take with me, and I definitely took it on Monday nights.
I think on Monday Night Football is when I
think about, oh my God,
I think about the helmet dropping, and then the other helmet dropping from the sky,
and then smashing into each other.
They crash, and that's my Monday Night Football.
I go back to before that where they go into the truck. Jake, remember the one with the truck? And they'd say, 5 seconds, camera 4. And then, those were great. Back when you could hardly watch any games, Monday Night Football was the biggest deal. Yeah. 1970.
And I went to that game against Buffalo that the Chiefs won, I believe, 33-6.
That may have been the greatest game ever for Arrowhead crowd.
Yeah.
I think that's the best I've ever seen.
When Monday Night Football came back to Arrowhead for the first time in such a long time. But then what was also cool is I remember in the stadium they showed that graphic of the helmet dropping, and I like lost my mind because I'd watched Monday Night Football for so long and never seen the Chiefs on. Like, the Chiefs helmet.
Because they showed the television introduction, Jake. They showed it on the Jumbotron.
Yeah.
So we got to see it
That's
for
right.
ourselves. It wasn't on TV, but it was what people saw at home.
It was a big deal.
I've never heard Arrowhead that loud for 3 hours. I mean, Arrowhead's loud, but that night, it never let up. How do we not lose our voice? Because Buffalo, I don't know what year it was, but this is Jim Kelly's new no huddle, right? So what did the fans think they needed to do for Marty Schottenheimer's Chiefs to help out? Scream after every play as loud as we could so that they couldn't communicate. And then once the play started, you'd scream for the defense to go make a play. Come on, Derek Thomas, go make a play. And that night was a complete roar and a celebration. I've never heard that place that loud. And it was constant.
It's 91, wasn't it?
Yep.
Am I overstating that?
No.
I remember watching it on TV.
I hope it was loud on TV.
Oh, it was.
Because it was deafening there. And the enthusiasm never stopped. I mean, you just never quit cheering to the highest level. Everybody. It wasn't like some old people not standing up. Everybody was up cheering.
I was a student at Missouri Western, and me and a bunch of guys I lived with in the dorms drove down for the game. A couple of girls, too. It was like a group of like 8 or 9 of us. And I already, because I was back then, I was a single season ticket holder up in the upper level. And then I know a bunch of them bought scalp tickets outside of the stadium. And then we got in.
That Monday night game, do you happen to know when the previous Chiefs Monday night home game was?
No, when was it? It was a while.
I'm just guessing it might have been 1984.
It was a long time.
Because I knew again, my wife had to go to ball games on our honeymoon. Like, that was just core. So she knew what she was getting into. But even when I dated her, I finished a practice on Monday, which is a light practice in college, and jumped in the car with my buddies. They were waiting outside the football locker room, so I ran from the field through the shower, ran the whole way, I think, dried off on the way to the car, and we drove straight to Kansas City to watch the Chiefs play the Chargers.
1983 against the Chargers.
1983?
Was the last time before it came back in 91.
I was in Manhattan, and I came to that game. Because the K-State band and my wife as a cheerleader were out there on the field, and so she rode back with us.
They lost September 12th, 1983. They lost to the Chargers.
Dan Fouts is good.
17-14. Dan Fouts.
It was old-fashioned power running and stifling defense by the Chiefs that knocked the Bills from the undefeated ranks 33-6.
Pounded them. 2
touchdown plunges by 260-pound Christian Okoye late in the third quarter put the game out of reach after fumbles by Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas. Steve DeBerg outdueled Jim Kelly.
Would you ever believe that you know Christian Okoye when you were watching that game that night? Could you advance yourself to Stephen St. John in this radio studio saying, oh, yeah, I know Christian. He's my friend?
Well, I was pretty delusional.
You thought no big deal, right? That big dude running for touchdowns, I'll hang out with him.
Yeah, it's going to be my buddy one day. No. I mean, I hoped, I don't know.
I'm going to do roast for that man one day.
Yeah. I'm gonna host all this roast and charity
He
events.
thinks he's a big deal scoring touchdowns against the Bills. Wait till he hears them from me.
No. Hey, I talk all the time. It's weird, man. I pinch myself and think about that. It's crazy. Koye was the man back then. We will let's take a break, and then we're going to play that clip from Reggie Jackson that was so powerful last night on the special presentation from Rick Woodfield on Fox. And like I said, it was, I don't know if they expected him to say what he said, but it was, it made its rounds on social media, and it was extremely powerful. And especially since I didn't even tell you about that. You brought up, Reggie Jackson and those A's from the early 70s that were such a roadblock for the Royals, and I had talked about that with Buster yesterday. And so we'll play that.
And he was a Kansas City A too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I wasn't even pulling in that part of it. I was thinking about the rivalry, hating the A's.
Right. Hey, you know what? Teams leaving Kansas City are kind of a theme this this week, or at least
can
leaving
we get
the
to
state
talk
of
about
Missouri,
that later?
if you want to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you talk about it, and I'm going to ram my head through a wall several times until hopefully I pass out.
I got a lot of detailed inside
Good.
information on the newest, latest crazy plan.
That's what I want. We'll take a break. Back after this on WHB. All right, so this next clip is from last night on Fox and their special broadcast from Rickwood Field of the game between the St. Louis Cardinals and San Francisco Giants, honoring the Negro Leagues. And this is Alex Rodriguez asking Reggie Jackson the question, and Reggie was sitting there right between A-Rod and David Ortiz, and then Derek Jeter was off to the side. And so here you'll hear A-Rod talking to Reggie Jackson and Reggie Jackson's response.
Reggie, the baton has been passed for over a century here. We've been talking earlier about if it wasn't for the Willie Mays, the Jackie Robinson, the Reggie Jacksons, the three of us wouldn't have an opportunity to play. How emotional is it for you to come back to a play that you played with one of the greatest teams around?
Alex, when people ask me a question like that, it's like coming back here is not easy. The racism that I played here, when I played here, the difficulty of going through different places where we traveled. Fortunately, I had a manager and I had players on the team that helped me get through it. but I wouldn't wish it on anybody. People said to me today, I spoke, and they said, you think you're a better person? You think you won when you played here in Concord? I said, I would never want to do it again. I walked into restaurants, and they would point at me and said, can't eat here. I would go to a hotel, and they say, then can't stay here. We went to Charlie Finley's country club for a welcome home dinner, and they pointed me out with the N-word. He can't come in here. Finley marched the whole team out. Finally, they let me in there. He said, we're going to go to the diner and eat hamburgers. We'll go where we're wanted. Fortunately, I had a manager, Johnny McNamara, that if I couldn't eat in the place, nobody would eat. We'd get food to travel. If I couldn't stay in a hotel, they'd drive to the next hotel and find a place where I could stay. Had it not been for Raleigh Fingers, Johnny McNamara, Dave Duncan, Joe and Sharon Rudy, I slept on their couch 3-4 nights a week for about a month and a half. Finally, they were threatened that they would burn our apartment complex down unless I got out. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. The year I came here, Bull Connor was the sheriff the year before. And they took minor league baseball out of here because in 1963, the Klan murdered 4 black girls, children, in 11, 12, 14 years old at a church here and never got indicted. They were from the Klan. Life magazine did a story on them like they were being honored. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. At the same time, had it not been for my white friends, had it not been for a white manager, and Rudy, Fingers, and Duncan, and Lee Myers, I would have never made it. I was too physically violent. I was ready to physically fight I'd have got killed here because I'd have beat someone's ass, and you'd have saw me in an oak tree somewhere.
Reggie, I can't even imagine. It's awful you had to go through that, but appreciate you sharing the rawness and the honesty of it with our audience. I mean, really,
we love you, Reg.
Yeah, thank you.
Quick history lesson right there.
That's a great history lesson. Reggie Jackson telling us all about it, preaching. Wow, that's unbelievable. The great Reggie Jackson, the Hall of Famer, joining us here, and we've got more to do.
That's just one of the most powerful things you'll ever hear on TV, especially in the broadcast of a baseball game. But he's talking about playing for the Birmingham A's, the Double-A affiliate of the then Kansas City Athletics in 1967 before he made it to the majors. And so he was playing as an affiliate for a team in Kansas City in 67.
So much to take in on those comments. One, you don't hear very many good things about Charlie Finley, the owner, but that is really cool that he stepped up when he could, the manager and the players. Just reminds me when you take first the negativity and then turn it into the other side of the equation, that's what's the great thing about sports. A lot of people talk about, did Buckhurst's speech going to affect the Chiefs in the locker room? Heck no, it's not going to affect the Chiefs in the locker room. Man, it is the melting pot where people learn to love each other and treat each other as human beings and stick up for each other no matter what their friends are like or what they look like or what they think, what their personal preferences are. Man, you're in there to respect each other and be a team. And there was a bit of that in there. But the other thing that I like is I love hearing the real history because they could have gone there, and without that comment, I didn't watch the whole game. I just saw the first part of it. But without that, you could have just made it a big celebration, Stephen. Just like, this is the greatest thing in the world. There's only good things. Isn't this great? I love that we're hearing some actual balancing of the equation and hearing facts from somebody. And
you mentioned Joe Rudy earlier, the story.
And how about that? He and his wife?
That was incredible, I thought.
That was really incredible. And it makes you feel the pain of it, but you've got to know the facts. And one of the biggest problems we have, I believe, in our society today is our polarization is you can't say the facts. You can't balance it out and say, you can only say one thing. You turn on your TV station. There's no way Fox would allow him to get on there. If they knew he was going to say that, they would have never let him on national
Reggie
TV.
was going to say what he was going to say.
Right, but if the Fox people would have gone, never. That's not what they wanted that to be. They wanted it to be a celebration of a cool thing to get you to watch a general major league game.
But you could see it on his face how he was.
I didn't see his face.
But it was hard for him to be there. He even said that. It was
powerful.
Yeah. Yes.
But it was real.
Yes.
We don't hear enough real in America today.
We will be right back after this on WHB.